as UK intelligence suggests Russia could invade at any moment. Joining us is politics expert and historian Natalia Narochnitskaya, who was a vice chair of the International Affairs Committee for Russia's State Duma. Hello to you. Thank you for joining us on the programme.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think nothing will happen if there is no provocation on the part of Ukrainian Nazis, because I strongly believe that Ukrainian government is controlled by these Galician nationalists who have been Hitler's collaborators, and they are just full of hatred, almost zoological anti-Semitism and anti-Russophobia. So if there is no provocation on the part of Ukraine or sponsored by the West, because I think it's the West, especially, I'm sorry to say, Anglo-Saxons, the British and the Americans, who wants very much to persuade the whole world that Russia is going to invade. Cui bono? Why should Russia invade? What will Russia gain just invading? Another problem is when there is provocation and the bombs will start falling on the heads of Russians and Donetsk and Lugansk regions who do not agree with the policy of modern Ukraine. Then, of course, there will be a hard issue for Russians whether to interfere, but only in that case. So there is no provocation, no invasion at all. Russia has never intended to invade Ukraine.
Why, I wonder, have they put 130,000 troops on the border?
Russian troops are stationed on Russian territory, and Russia has right to have their troops and move them around on its own territory. So why should it signify that it's going to invade? You know, if there is provocation, even without stationing troops along the border, it's very easy to fight back any attack. But the situation is, and you perfectly well know that it is the West who supplies now Ukraine with enormous amount of arms, and Ukrainian nationalists concentrate on the line between the mainland and Donetsk and Lugansk region, even forbidden types of arms, etc. So the situation is aggravating. So I think any country is allowed to just to be prepared, especially that the situation on the south, you know, is not very calm. I mean, not in the south of Russia, but I mean in the Black Sea and Caucasian region with Turkey having, you know, dreams to reinstate the Osmanian Empire and to become a formidable porter now. So this is a general situation in global geopolitics that
perhaps I could put this
has reasons for many.
But this to you then, if I may. If the troops, there's 130,000 Russian troops, the number's been increasing significantly over the last month or so. But your interpretation of that, madam, is that they're there purely in a defensive role in case Ukraine decides to invade Russia.
But of course, but I don't think only someone totally mad and in delirious geopolitical speculations can invade Russia, because, well, I understand that it is perfectly known and understood.
Why do they need to be there then? if it's unlikely that that could ever happen, why put the troops there then?
Well, because of the general situation, just to make sure that if anything happens, Russia is ready, but Russia certainly doesn't have any intention to fight. Russia has always insisted on implementation in full range of Minsk negotiations and decisions and agreements, and it's Ukraine that doesn't want even and practically openly declares that Minsk negotiations and agreements do not fit Ukrainian interests. I don't know why. That means Ukraine doesn't want to settle the situation.
Okay,
that's very deplorable, and
sure.
it's concentrating forbidden arms.
Yeah, may I ask you this question? I wonder if I could ask you this, please, madam. And that is, what if Ukraine decides that they are going to join NATO? Would that be sufficient provocation for Russia to decide to take matters further?
Well, Russian position was stated clearly and bluntly that for us it is inadmissible that Ukraine joins NATO. Just imagine if Mexico or anyone on the border of the United States would have joined the Warsaw Pact. You remember what happened when Soviet Union stationed some rockets on Cuba. What did the United States declare? Then there was a provocation, of course, and Russia yielded, and I mean the Soviet Union. So for us, it's absolutely geopolitically inadmissible fact. But even in that case, I do not think Russia would invade Ukraine. Russia would make some other and very serious steps. There are many ways we can react to this because Russia is very strong now, military, and contrary to the public opinion myth in the West, it is quite united. I mean, there is a public consent with regard to foreign policy. There are many other protesting attitudes, especially in the economics, but as far as Russian foreign policy and position of our president and Mr. Lavrov is Russia is united. Moreover, I would like to say that compared to the average Russian opinion, Mr. President, Mr. Putin is a dove of peace, although you may laugh at this, of course, my joke, but the average Russian is much more angry with Western policies and Russophobia in media and media hysteria against Russia. So Russian people in general, and I measure always the public opinion, it is couldn't care less anymore about what foreign press writes about Russia.
Yeah, I wonder,
I'm sorry to say.
I wonder if this morning some of my viewers would agree that President Putin is a colossus of peace when we look at an airline that was shot down, MH17, and people killed by poison on the streets of a quiet city here in the UK. But that's a discussion for another day. I suppose what I'd like to ask you in conclusion is, when do you think the Russian troops will be moving back from the border with Ukraine?
I wish I could elaborate on this topic, but about poisoning, etc. Why should we believe the data of some intelligence after Colin Powell test tube, etc. So nobody is really taking seriously things because there were no proofs at all. But that's another issue. We'll not talk about it now. I believe that if the situation relaxes, if there is entente, which we all want, then there won't be any reason to keep forces, armed forces and troops such scale. But I believe, and I would like to reiterate, that Russia, as a sovereign country, has right to have troops anywhere, and doesn't mean it is intending to invade anyone.
Okay. Okay, it's absolutely fascinating to speak to you this morning, Madam. Sadly, we are out of time, but hopefully you'll be able to come back and talk to us again very soon. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.